Pierce said his all-time top 5 would consist of Jordan, Kobe, Kareem, Magic, and Bill Russell. Not only was LeBron left off the list, Pierce later tweeted Shaq would be 6 and Duncan would be 7. He said his reasoning was that all of those players were part of a dynasty and that LeBron had never built a championship team from scratch. Shannon, what do you read into this?
Yeah, but look, I think the thing is Paul Pierce is entitled to his opinion, although I don't agree with it. The reason why I don't agree with it, Skip, is his rationale, because he didn't build a dynasty. Skip, does he realize that LeBron isn't the general manager? Do we realize we would not even be mentioning Paul Pierce had Danny Ainge not pulled off the trade for Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen? Does he realize that, Skip? Like some players go to teams that, for lack of a better word, and I hate to use this word, that the front office is incompetent. Everybody can't be Jerry West. Everybody doesn't have the argument, no matter what you think of him, Skip, or of a Jerry Krause. And so, or Bob Myers. So everybody can't put together a team. And he's talking about, well, you know, he hopped around, he went and joined D. Wade and Chris Bosh. Skip, does he realize that Robert Parrish and Dennis Johnson and Tiny Archibald were not drafted by the Celtics? Does he realize that a lot of the Lakers, the greats from Kareem and that helped them win titles, were not drafted by the Lakers? That Shaq was not drafted by the Lakers? Does he realize that? So what does he think about Shaq? Shaq went from Orlando to the Lakers to the Heat. Where Kareem was with the Bucks for what, 7 years, Skip? If I'm not mistaken, I think it was about 7 years. So Skip, if you want to say LeBron is not a top 5 player, okay, based on this, this, and this. But when you say he didn't build a dynasty because he wasn't fortunate enough to have Red Auerbach that was orchestrating and that was building, or he didn't have a Jerry West or Jerry Krause or R.C. Buford, you use that. That's your argument. You realize that's your argument, Paul Pierce. Paul, you won 3 series in 9 years before KG and Ray Allen got there. Bruh, come on, Skip. He has never been the same since LeBron dropped 45-15 on him. And then he started ring chasing because he got so upset that LeBron busted him up. He went to, Skip, remember, he went to Brooklyn. He and KG went to Brooklyn and teamed up with Joe Johnson and Darren Williams to try to get back. And LeBron busted him up again. And then he went to the Wizards. And then he went to the Clippers. Paul, bruh, you looking bad. I mean, you look real angry, Paul. I'm just saying how it looks from the outside. If you want to say LeBron isn't a top 5 pick, say based on what he's not been able to accomplish. But to say because he didn't build a dynasty? Nah, bruh, that look real petty on your side, bruh.
By the way, the exact quote was, what has LeBron done to build up any organization from the ground floor? The way Jordan came into Chicago, '84, and just took a really bad basketball franchise and lifted it up to those heights. Okay.
Skip,
now,
they built, but Jerry Krause had something to do with that.
Well, he didn't draft Michael, but after that, he made some nice little moves that helped. Okay. Let's forget about that. Let's talk about Paul Pierce. What's the psychology here? Let's psychoanalyze. What's the motivation? What's the driving force here? Is it because of the rivalry? LeBron and Paul went at it. They guarded each other often. And remember, the first 2 times they played in 2008 and 2010, Paul got the best of LeBron. So it wasn't like it was a mismatch all the way. It wasn't like Paul got shamed in this rivalry because he didn't get shamed early on. You're right, he got busted up later, but early he did more of the busting than LeBron did. So I'm going deeper here because just for the record, Paul is ranking LeBron right about where I have him ranked all time. So I don't have an enormous problem with where he ranked him, but I do have a problem with the why of it because I don't think Paul Pierce is speaking his heart on this. There's something deeper going on, and this is my take. You said everybody has a right to their opinion. Well, I'm going to express mine. 2 cents worth of opinion from a distance. I believe that Paul Pierce saw LeBron at his all-time greatest, and he saw LeBron at his worst. sometimes in the very same game. And I believe that seeing LeBron at his worst is sticking in Paul Pierce's psyche right now, that he can't come to grips with, he can't make peace with what he saw from LeBron at his lowest moments and justify putting him in the top 10 above Kobe and Kareem and Magic and Bill Russell. Okay, so let's look back. Remember, in 2008, in the conference semifinals, they met for the first time, and it went 7 games, but the 7th game was in Boston. And it wasn't like LeBron was a baby still, because he'd already had the 48-point explosion against Detroit that got him to the finals against my Spurs, and he got swept.
Right.
So LeBron is coming off getting swept in the finals. Here we go again into the next playoff run, conference semis, Game 7 at Boston. LeBron scored 45 in that game. Paul scored 41 in that game. It was one of the all-time Game 7 postseason shootouts. But here's what happened, and you're going to say I'm nitpicking, but this is way bigger than a nit. I dare anybody to watch the tape of what happened in the last 141 of that game, minute and 41 seconds, or just go call up and look at the play-by-play. LeBron went 0 for 3 from the field in the last 141. He also missed, he went 1 for 2 from the free throw line, but the one miss at the free throw line came with 16.5 seconds left, and it was crucial. So LeBron missed a big 3 at 141. He missed another big 3 with 2 with 25 seconds left, a little 5-foot sort of turnaround jumper. And then with 5 seconds left, he missed another 3 that would have made it a tight game. This is a seesaw back and forth game. So Paul saw LeBron go off and score 45 and then shrink at the end of the game. And then obviously in 2010, which was the last time around in Cleveland, I'm sorry, but this is just the facts. This is what happened. It's the God's truth that LeBron went off in Game 3 at Boston. This is in the 2010 playoffs. And I thought that was the best game I ever saw LeBron play. And I know you can talk about that Game 6 and then the Game 7 later when he was with the Heat against Boston that you talked about. But listen, LeBron dominated on that Friday night in Game 3. And they're up 2-1. And then here we went. Game 4, Game 5, Game 6. LeBron shrank and shrank and shrank and completely disappeared to the point that someone from his inner circle told ESPN that LeBron had to be sedated for Games 4, 5, and 6 because he's having an issue in the locker room with a teammate. I'm sorry, I found that a little far-fetched that he was sedated. He played like he was sleepwalking. And Dan Gilbert, his owner, after he left and took his talents to South Beach soon after that, Dan Gilbert accused LeBron of quitting in Games 4, 5, and 6 of that series. And I've never heard of any superstar get accused of quitting like that owner accused LeBron. Okay, but my point is this is sticking in Paul's psyche. He saw this firsthand. He's guarding LeBron as he disappeared.
So why didn't anybody say when Kobe Bryant would not shoot the ball because everybody said he was selfish, why didn't people say Kobe quit? In Phoenix,
it's not about Kobe, it's about LeBron against Paul Pierce.
This is about Paul Pierce. You keep saying everything. But here's the thing. All you do is you go back to someone's lowest moment. You never mention anything about Magic Johnson and how in 1984 they called him tragic. You don't say that. It's always LeBron, 2011.
I have said it, but we're talking about where LeBron is ranked.
But my thing is, Skip, is that LeBron, if to let you tell it, to let Paul Pierce tell it, and let others tell it, only LeBron has had moments in the playoff in which he has not been his best. You do know in 2008, 2009, Paul Pierce had Kevin Garnett. If I'm not mistaken, Kevin Garnett was Defensive Player of the Year that year. And he had Ray Allen. What was Paul Pierce doing before he got those two guys? Nobody talks about Kobe shooting air balls.
Not about Paul.
But Skip. But my point is that all you do, and Paul Pierce and others, is take LeBron at his lowest and say, see, nobody else has done that. But when I say others have had games like that, you said it's not about them. It's never about them, because then it would go against your theory that LeBron James is only the all-time great player that's ever had failures. And you know that's not to be true because you've covered the game longer than I've been watching it.
Okay. These are epic fails. This is 2010, games 4, 5, and 6. Then he goes to the Heat in 2011. And what happened in games 4, 5, and 6 of the NBA Finals versus Dallas? Same thing, right on cue. 3 games of disappearance, of melting down, of chosen one becoming frozen one. He froze up, the way he did against Boston the year before. But again, Shannon, this isn't just missing one shot. This is 3 games, 4, 5, and 6, and then 3 more in the finals the next year, 4, 5, and 6. And the game 7 back in 2008 against Boston, it's a big body of failure that Paul knows better than anybody, and he's thinking in his head, I believe, I can't put that guy in the top 5.
Skip, look, my point is that you say, look at 2010. Skip, just because it happened more recent and other guys' failures happened more in the past, that does not justify it. You give so much more weight to LeBron because, well, he's a Panther, he's a GOAT. But if we're also saying that Magic, we're also saying Kobe. There have been other players that have had series that's been less than. That's my only point.
Okay.
Paul Pierce tried to say because he didn't build a dynasty. Bro, you didn't build a dynasty.